Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the September 17th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners for Thurston County meeting. I got that backwards. This is my first time being chair. Thurston County Board of County Commissioners meeting. Let the record show that all commissioners are present with the exception of Commissioner Ty Mincer, who is excused and moving his child into his UW dorms. So that's exciting. Tonight's agenda, we're calling the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by myself. Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point, I'd like to ask for approval of the September 17th agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That was a close one. Motion passes. Thank you. Next up is presentations.
Vice Chair, would you like me to do a
Thank
line
you.
acknowledgement before we proceed?
Yes.
Okay, so we would also like to start today with a land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Indigenous Salish peoples whose elders and ancestors have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today. Specifically, the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Commissioner Mejia. First up on the agenda, we have the county auditor for a proclamation for National Voter Registration Day. So I'd like to invite Auditor Mary Hall up to the lectern.
Thank you very much. Thank you for recognizing National Voter Registration Day. We've been celebrating National Voter Registration Day in Thurston County for 11 years now. It's actually 12 years old, so I'm pretty proud of that. You know, voting is the cornerstone of our democracy, but you can't vote if you're not registered to vote. This year, I'm proud to say that we have passed over 200,000 registered voters in Thurston County. And I don't expect it to drop below 200,000 anytime in the future just because of our growth. But if you look at voting age population, we've done a fantastic job in Thurston County, getting a large percentage of those folks registered. And registration has never been easier. Now, when kids go in for the first time to get their driver's license when they're 16, they can actually pre-register to vote. Now, that record is private until they turn 18, but as soon as they turn 18 in the first election they're eligible to vote in, they will receive a ballot. So I really appreciate your efforts to bring awareness to this day. We need as many people as we can possibly get participating in our democratic process. So for those of you who may be working or watching online, registration is very, very simple. I encourage everyone to ask everybody they know if they're voting this year. Are they registered? You'd be amazed how many people say, oh, I don't vote, or I'm not registered. Now, all you have to do is go on to votewa.gov. You need a driver's license or the last four of your social security number, and you can register to vote. I also want to call attention to our new voter services and voting center that has recently been completed out at the Mottman Industrial Park. It's fully operational, and it's very easy to find. We have it on our website. We also have a second voting center at Timberline Regional Library at Lacey. So if people don't want to drive to Tumwater, they can get the same services at the Lacey Voting Center, which opens 8 days prior to the election. So thank you again for supporting this partnership. And I encourage everybody to exercise their important right and vote in this upcoming election. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the auditor?
How about a comment?
Yes, sir.
I guess I'm, out of my seatmates, I'm the one that stood for the elections the most over the years, and they have not always been a slam dunk. And I would like the public to know that I've always had confidence in our elections here in Thurston County, and I want to thank you for that, because I've been through the whole system. I've been over there, watched it happen. I've been through daily counts that maybe you're up, maybe you're down, all that type of thing, all the stress of running for an elected office and facing the outcomes. So I can just assure the public that I feel very confident. I don't know about the rest of the country, but here in Thurston County, we're pretty well off. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I have an amazing staff. If I can just talk a moment about the statewide recount we just conducted. That really tests your systems, not only your tabulation system, but your visual inspection process. And I am proud to say that we had a 0 variance in Thurston County. Our tabulation equipment counted it perfectly. And that really says a lot about not only full-time staff, but the temporary seasonal staff that we bring in year to year who visually inspect those ballots to make sure that it's going to count the way it's intended to count. So thank you for that recognition.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. And as Commissioner or Auditor Hall and I were just talking the other day, your every vote absolutely counts. And my first mayoral election was a tie. It was a tie, tied, and it was decided by the auditor in a toss of a quarter in the air. So every vote does count. So the Board of County Commissioners would like to proclaim this as National Voter Registration Day. So I'd like to ask Commissioner Mejia to read the proclamation.
Thank you. National Voter Registration Day Proclamation. Whereas registering to vote empowers eligible citizens to exercise their right to vote on Election Day, and whereas Thurston County is committed to strengthening democracy by encouraging voter registration and increasing participation in all elections, and whereas civic-minded people and organizations have collaborated to establish September 17th, 2024 as National Voter Registration Day, and whereas the goal for the 2024 National Voter Registration Day is to create awareness of elections and motivate eligible citizens to vote in coming months. And whereas the strength of our democracy depends on the willingness of our citizens to participate by choosing the people who will lead us and by voicing their opinions on important matters that will come before the voters on Election Day. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners hereby proclaim September 17th, 2024 as National Voter Registration Day in Thurston County and encourages all eligible county residents to register to vote. Adopted the 17th day of September 2024, the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you.
And I also want to acknowledge my election staff who are here in the back, and they are leaders in the state. They are phenomenal, and I am so lucky to have them. I can't speak highly enough. You know, I get emails from professors when they go away to their national classes of, oh, I had this person in my class. They were fantastic. It's not just one, it's all of them. So
Should we get a picture with them?
Pardon me?
Should we get a picture with them?
Fantastic. Come on up.
Want to even it out?
Diana and Riley.
Next on the agenda is proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month. We've invited several guests. I'm not sure that I see anyone in particular in the,
Yes. We have Maria Sequenza.
there we go. Okay, I didn't see, I was looking for Miguel. I didn't, so we have Miguel Pineda, Miriam Villacian, Susan McCleary, Kendra Gala, Maria Siguenza, Cynthia Tamayo, Nancy Aguilar, and Commissioner Lola Flores. And come on up.
Hi, everyone. The last four names, is this on? Yes. Okay. The last four names are part of the Commission on Hispanic Affairs. We're a small state agency. We do policy advisory work and form part of the governor's cabinet. And we're always happy. This is our backyard. This is where actually now the minority of our staff resides. And we're always happy to join you here for Hispanic Heritage Month proclamations. Thank you.
Thank you. So the Board of County Commissioners.
We have someone from
Oh,
Stream Team.
Miriam Villacian, Thurston County Community Planning. Just telling you about an event that's happening this weekend. So Stream Team of Thurston County, which is comprised of the cities of Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater, as well as unincorporated Thurston County. We're partnering with Cielo, Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, and Pacific Education Institute to offer an interpreted tour of Tumwater Falls during the Salmon Run for our Latinx community. It's September 21st, so this Saturday from 12 to 3 at Brewery Park at Tumwater Falls. In addition to the tour, which we will have experts as well as Spanish interpreters there, we'll have a food truck, kids activities, information booths on stormwater and water quality, and also introducing careers in stormwater as well. This also takes place during Latinx Conservation Week, which is a national campaign, and so we're on their website as well. And so we're just inviting everybody to come out. I did put flyers in the little rack there, so we'd love to have everybody out there. Thank you.
thank you. The Board of County Commissioners would like to proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2024 as Hispanic Heritage Month in Thurston County. And I would like to invite Commissioner Mejia to read the proclamation, please.
Thank you. Proclamation for Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month. Whereas National Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month celebrates the Hispanic and Latino community and highlights its countless achievements, and whereas many Latino Americans trace their roots to the cultures of the indigenous people of the Americas, to the Spanish explorers, or to those brought as slaves to the New World. And whereas the month of September 15th through October 15th is a time to honor the ways Hispanic and Latinos contribute to our common goals, celebrate their diverse cultures, and to work towards a stronger, more inclusive, and more prosperous society for all. And whereas this month's theme, Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together, encapsulates the spirit of innovation, resilience, and unity that define the Hispanic and American Latino experience. And whereas all are invited to the Salmon Celebration and Latinx Community Day, hosted by the Thurston County Stream Team, Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, and others, that will take place on Saturday, September 21st from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Brewery Park at Tumwater Falls. And whereas the Lula Fest, hosted by the Ultimano Coms and the City of Olympia, will take place on Saturday, September 28th from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Isthmus Park in Olympia. And whereas Hispanic and Latino Americans represent a significant and fast-growing demographic of Thurston County, and we honor the invaluable ways they strengthen our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaims September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month in Thurston County, and urge residents to join us in celebrating the great contributions of Hispanic and Latino Americans. Adopted the 17th day of September 2024, the Board of County Commissioners. Picture? Yep.
All right, moving along. Next thing on our agenda is opportunity for public to address the board. If there's anyone, members of the public who would like to address the board, now's your opportunity. I have a list of names, and I will just start from the top. The Board of County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public at all meetings. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or the staff. Please silence your cell phones. The board does not respond to public comments on a need basis. The county manager will follow up with specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 3 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for good cause. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to a public records release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 RCW. Remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal. Thank you for your cooperation. First up is Ms. Linnea Comstock.
Good afternoon. When did you, as the Thurston County Board of Commissioners, when did you consult with the junior taxing districts regarding the loss of their revenue due to your request to the Board of Natural Resources to halt the Cabbage Patch and Carrot timber sales? When did you reach consensus with them and obtain their agreement to forego monies owed to them from those timber sales? To my knowledge, the only time this board has consulted with or informed the junior taxing districts formally of the consequences to them of your decisions and actions was when Commissioner Menser met with school superintendents regarding the loss of revenue. In May of 2024, when the Rochester, Griffin, Tumwater, and Olympia school districts learned they would be losing money from canceled timber sales from a lobbyist, to the best of my knowledge, they were not aware of how the loss of timber sale money came to be. I happened to share that information with them. That is why they reached out to you, and they sent letters to the Board of Natural Resources testifying against the timber sale pause as well. In addition to impacting the junior taxing districts, such as the fire districts, the library, Medic 1, and other districts, Thurston County itself will lose general revenue and county road revenue by pausing and halting the Cabbage Patch and Carrot timber sales. I ask you to rescind your request to the Board of Natural Resources and make no further requests until such time as there is a plan in place to make those junior taxing districts whole, including yourselves, county general funds, and county roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Comstock. Next on the agenda is Mr. John Pettit.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live out on Rich Road. Today, I guess I'm going to start with asking a couple of questions. Do any of you care about following the county code or state law? I know that seems like an easy question. Of course you swore by oath to do so. But, I don't get it. Somehow we're still promoting something, a purchase of a building. I support the idea that the sheriff needs some better facility. But the process that the Thurston County has to follow, every county in the state has to follow, is their comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan requires that any building and facilities be placed on a capital facility program to be reviewed by the Planning Commission. Your proposal of moving forward with a purchase of a building on Israel Road has never done that. There is no provision even for a purchase of a building in Tumwater for the sheriff's office on the capital facility plan. It's a direct violation of everything that's about. Why do you even have a capital facility plan if you just think, oh, we can spend money any way we want? A capital facility plan provides an exact form and where the payment's going to come from. That's the law. If you don't want to follow the law, don't be a commissioner. It's that simple. I have the right to appeal any decision you make, and I've done it before. I'm going to give you an example, though, of how well Thurston County's done. Thurston County, 2 years ago, virtually to the day, received $50 million in their account from bond sale. That cost $6,000 a day in interest for these last 2 years. How much have we gotten repaired up at the old courthouse? Nothing. $50 million, nothing has been repaired in 2 years. Well, that's pretty impressive. How much, we bought a building over at the Mottman complex, and initially the plan was $250,000, $300,000 worth of additional repairs to be done. How much did they come back with a few months later? Oh, it'll be $10 million. The fact is that full project is not done. Are we just going out and buying old buildings that we need to fix that we have proven incapable of actually doing the job? Nobody, no private industry has a record as bad as Thurston County for actually completing a project. Now, I know I'd like to ask you to go ahead and consult your attorney, because you should have an attorney here and address, do we have the right to move forward without having it be on the capital facility plan? But you don't have an attorney here. You need to delay this process until you find out. If you don't want to follow the law, don't be a commissioner. I mean, we don't need to be spending another $14 million for a building and then another $5 to $10 million to fix it up when we don't have the money, and the proposed fund where it's coming from, cannot be used to supplement other portions of the budget where you don't have enough money. This needs to be planned as required by state law through the comprehensive plan.
Thank you, sir.
I encourage you to vote no.
Next
on
up
item
is Mr.
4A.
Frank Huddick.
Commissioners, thank you for your time and your service. My name is Frank Hudick. I'm a citizen of unincorporated Thurston County and a member of the Lake Lawrence Lake Management District. The purpose of this communication is to convey my disagreement with spending Thurston County taxpayer funds for the Capitol Lake Deschutes Estuary project as outlined in the current interlocal agreement, ILA, and supporting documentation. I've attended some of the DES meetings open to the public, most recently a comprehensive public presentation on 19 August 2024. I've read documents available to the public, including the EIS and proposed ILA. The design and planning aspects of the estuary project seem technically sound, environmentally responsible, and well planned as a sequence of manageable projects. The issue at hand is the fiscal aspect of the ILA as pertains to rural Thurston County residents. Specifically, I request the county commissioners not sign the proposed ILA as currently written for the following principal reasons. 1, rural Thurston County residents are taxpayers of the state, Thurston County, and the Port of Olympia, all named fiscal contributors to the ILA. In addition, those of us that are LMD constituents also contribute annual voter-approved fees for stewardship of our own county lakes. 2, the state of Washington created the issue now requiring remediation. The state owns the Capitol complex and should be the sole provider of funds to correct the situation they created, namely damming of the Deschutes River. Washington state government caused the issue now requiring remediation. 3, Thurston County does not own any real property on Capitol Lake and will not assume receivership of any of the tangible benefits once the project is completed. Per the EIS, the southernmost boundary of this project ends at Tumwater Falls, exclusive of any portion of unincorporated Thurston County. 4. Thurston County residents were explicitly excluded from targeted stakeholder engagements afforded other signatories of the ILA. This is not transparency. 5. Lake Lawrence is approximately 25 miles from Capitol Lake by road. The distance from eastern portions of Thurston County to Capitol Lake exceeds 50 miles. Conversely, Mason County is approximately 15 miles from the Capitol complex, and Grays Harbor County 20 miles. Unlike Thurston, neither of these latter two counties are signatories or direct contributors to the ILA, despite their relative proximity to the estuary. 6. The ILA, as I understand it, commits Thurston County to contribute to maintenance dredging for at least the period specified in the ILA. At the 19 August 2024 public presentation, it was revealed the estimated cost of the estuary is now increased from $250 million to $350 million. In addition, the apportionment of 15.4% to Thurston County taxpayers for maintenance dredging, previously estimated at $3 million, will invariably increase to $7+ million as well. On 4 September, a more detailed letter reflecting the issues summarized herein was forwarded to Commissioner Mejia, our elected representative for this project, as well as the remaining Board of County Commissioners. Lacking receipt acknowledgement, I am submitting a record copy of that letter along with this summary today. I conclude my testimony with this. The Commission recently supported an increase in our sales tax to pay for the underfunded Sheriff's Department. Ironically, you have taxpayer funds to commit to this multi-year ILA. This is wrong, and I highly recommend you reconsider disbursement of our county tax dollars for this project amongst more pressing county needs. In summary, I request that you not sign the ILA as currently written. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hudick. If you have something to turn in, would you
Yes.
please hand it to the...
Yeah, I'm going to get the letter too.
Okay,
Can I just,
certainly.
Mr. Hudick,
Can't hear very good.
Frank? Hey, I'm checking my email right now, and I'm not seeing an email from you, so I apologize about that.
That's my fault.
So if you could resend it, I'm happy to review it.
This is what I
Perfect.
have.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Next on the list is, it says Mr. Dennis Simmons, but it says he does not want to testify. I want to make sure that that is correct.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And then we have Mr. Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Terry Ballard. I live in Tanglewild. I've lived there since 2004. I'm a Washington-born resident, and my main focus of today is the Veterans Advisory Board and Veterans Fund. A couple weeks ago, we voted in a new member. For example, and I'm not pointing fingers at her thing, is Lisa Nazario. Okay, and Mr. Fortier, after reading the code, the county code, turned her position into a member at large. Well, the county code says that they have to have a letter from their nationally recognized veterans group. None of the veterans groups have been identified. All the veteran groups have nationally recognized organization on them, but nothing has been identified, and there is no letter from those organizations of representing the nationally recognized veterans groups. I suggest you get on board and follow the RCW 73.08, as well as your own code, which you wrote it on here, which is 2.122. Okay, and I gave you a listing of all the people that were on that board. Okay, and I'd like to know which one of you represents that board so I can deal with them directly. The answer, no one, because you don't care. Next up is the funding of the Veterans Fund. I see a carryover of 2022, okay, of 1.1 million. That's not carried over into 2023. And 2023 carryover was $1.4 million, and that wasn't carried over to be spent in 2024. You have it listing, it's highlighted. Also, the miscellaneous rent assistance down there highlighted. That's for veterans. That's not to pay for any other services like rentals, like $30,000 a year. And that is a false figure right there, okay? The miscellaneous, have no clue what miscellaneous is, okay? So maybe you help out with 2 full-time people there. It's been said to me that they help out 4 veterans for the Veterans Fund that they're inclusive on. As a service officer, that's a crime to me. The next page is salaries and wages. I never knew those 2 full-timers had no salaries listed. Why did somebody delete all the figures on that line? I have other sheets that this came off your sheet today that lists salaries. Somebody's manipulating this whole process. You have personal benefits, but you have no wages. Really? Really? And the bottom line, okay? It's been abused for years. Years. Okay? You don't care about veterans. Nobody's assigned to the Veterans Board. No one cares about the Veterans Board. When is the last time a board member has been up here speaking to you, which you're directly responsible for? Never. Never. How can you have a program to help out a homeless veteran from the Veterans Fund, which is funded for free from the veterans, from the VA, and not help out the rest of the home and not have the same program for homeless people? 86% of them have in Thurston County, have a drug addiction. Next 4% have a mental illness. You need to help them, get them off the street.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard.
Chair.
Commissioner Edwards.
Mr. Ballard, did you made reference to some material that we had? I don't have it. Okay, it's been turned in? Okay, we'll get it. Thank you.
I see online Desiree Tolliver with her hand raised. Does that mean that you would like to give public testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Please state your name and address, and you'll have 4 minutes.
Am I allowed to just say the city I live in?
I mean, I can't dictate what you say. These are the rules. I ask you to say that, and what you say is whatever comes out of your mouth.
Okay. My name is Desiree Tolliver. I live in Olympia, Washington. I just wanted to give comment about Carolina's misleading comments about Black and brown bodies being dead in the street when she was obviously taking a political hit against Emily Klaus. I'm going to say obviously because I personally have dared to participate in politics after being unhoused. And since then, I have had nothing but people, even through the Democratic Party, who use their power to try to hinder me, even racially attacking me, and saying that valid claims of racism are just trying to use a race card. I want to include, there was also threats to have my child taken away from me based off this person's affiliation to politics as well as their higher up state job level. When I was unhoused, the reason that I decided to run for mayor once I was housed instead of anything else was because in the middle of the winter, when I was watching my car, which used to get 47.5 miles per gallon, drop from 1 mile per gallon average down to 0, and my child is sleeping next to me, and I have went everywhere searching, begging, doing everything that I can to get housed, just to consistently be told that no, I don't qualify because I'm not addicted to drugs and because I'm not in a domestic violence relationship. I was going to unalive myself in front of the housing authority over the fact that they even refused to give me temporary housing for my daughter and I during the winter freeze because I had a car. 2 weeks of below freezing weather, and they were perfectly fine with a 7-year-old sleeping in a car. But you're going to sit here and talk about nobody cares about bodies till they're dead in the street. I know more than anyone nobody cares until they're dead because I didn't want to die, but there was nothing in my power that I could do besides start to actually challenge people and argue with them about what they were saying in order to change my situation. So, going past that, I also want to mention that you were not there at any of the things for any of the people that I know who've been impacted by police violence. Olympia Police Department itself has 80% of their force is used against people who are in crisis. And you also ran during Black Lives Matter movement and stuff, greatly talking about what you would do to help people. You've done nothing. Not one thing, except for when you want to do your own political theater of crying, you sit up there and you talk about Black and brown bodies. Do not talk about anything that has to do with issues affecting greatly impacted populations to justify your own political scheming. I know personally that the chair of Thurston County Democrats has thrown up a false lawsuit against the South Salish Progressive Alliance, a group that is affiliated with Emily Klaus. I know that he also tried to punish me for his perceived affiliation that I have to that group. And I know that what you are doing right now, especially considering you are so close with Wayne Fournier, I don't know what Emily could have done that's worse than slapping another woman, considering the claims that you make, that would influence you to take the steps that you do against her, but not against him. I also know that a Black woman who reported to the county about improper use of funds for housing crisis, which thank you, Terry, for talking about that as well, for the housing crisis, was fired from their job, and they submitted a report, and suddenly Emily, who sits on one of the boards that would investigate that, is removed from ability to do anything or have any power. And here people come to complain to you guys about that issue as well. And it's like you would rather take more time trying to paint Black and brown bodies as if that's what you're fighting for when you ignore us every other day of the year, when you continue to give the sheriff everything that he asked for, consistently everything that he asked for. I don't use us to justify your own vengeance, your own attempt at revenge, your own attempt to be dirty.
Ms. Tolliver?
Dirty, I mean politically dirty.
Ms. Tolliver?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to have to jump in. Your time is up. Thank you for your comments. The firefighter in me has to let you know that I can hear your smoke detector chirping in the background. So check your smoke detector battery.
No, I don't need to check nothing. The apartment complex that I live in, because the way the smoke detectors are, it has that linked battery thing.
Okay.
So someone's going to come in and do it for me from maintenance. I'm not going to go out and pay extra money for some connected battery crap.
All right. Well, don't let them not take care of that.
Trust me, just like I'm here, I talk to them too.
Thank you for your comments.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anyone else in the audience that has not put themselves on the sign-up sheet that would like to give public comment, now's your time to do so. If not, we will continue with our agenda. Next up, County Manager's update.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair. Commissioners, this time I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Consent calendar. We have several items on the consent calendar. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I would move to approve consent items A through D.
We have a motion to approve the consent calendar items A through D. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Department items, Central Services. Mr. Rick Thomas, regarding purchase and sales agreement for 1111 Israel Road LLC.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Rick Thomas, the Central Services Capital Projects Planning Manager. I'll be giving a brief overview of the process used to select the new Sheriff's Office building, as well as the approach to negotiating the purchase price. So let's start with the overview and the background. The Sheriff's Office needed expansion space to accommodate anticipated future operational services to the community. The new safety tax approved by the voters of Thurston County in 2023 included funding for a new sheriff's facility. Now, here's some information on our property selection process. Central Services began working with the Sheriff's Office in early 2024 to find an existing building in good condition in order to consolidate their split operations presently at Building 3 at the Hilltop and at the lease space in Tumwater. The county's real estate broker provided a list of 10 buildings in the Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater area. Each of these buildings were evaluated based upon criteria such as accessibility, to major arterials, total building square footage to accommodate current as well as anticipated 20-year needs, physical condition of the building, amount of renovation required, and the projected purchase price. 4 facilities were then shortlisted and investigated in more detail. These 4 buildings were toured by Central Services and the Sheriff's Office staff, and the 111 Israel Road building was determined to best meet the criteria. The 111 Israel Road building appears to have been very well maintained since its construction about 15 years ago. After receiving direction from the county commissioners, the Central Services staff opened negotiations with the seller. I'm going to talk a little bit about just the process of going through the negotiation. The county's real estate broker provided an office market report in May of 2024 that explained the current commercial office scenario in the greater Olympia area. The data included past sales history that the broker used to help the county determine a reasonable purchase price range. In the commercial real estate world, buildings are categorized on a 5-star rating system, where a 5-star office building would be considered state-of-the-art, prominent architectural design, certified sustainable, energy efficient, and typically less than 5 years old, compared to a 3-star having a modest architectural design, in need of some infrastructure upgrades and showing its age. The report indicated that a 3-star building's average purchase price was about $200 per square foot, and a 4 or 5-star building purchase prices were as much as $550 a square foot. In comparison, to build a new 4 or 5-star building in today's market would cost upwards of $700 a square foot, including the land purchase, development, design, construction, and furnishing. Negotiations commenced in April of 2024 and concluded in August of 2024 with an agreed purchase price of $14,250,000. This is just over $250 a square foot, which is a very reasonable price for a 56,000 square foot 4-star building. The property also includes over 150 parking spaces, enough to meet all the sheriff's requirements as well as visitors. Now, here are a few of the next steps. With the board's authorization, the county will enter into a purchase and sales agreement with the seller in the amount of $14,250,000. The county would be required to make an escrow deposit of $500,000, which would then commence a 105-day inspection period, allowing the county to make a detailed inspection of the building and property to ensure it meets our expectations and needs. If everything checks out, the county could then pay the seller $13.75 million in addition to the $500,000 already in escrow for the total purchase price of $14,250,000. If the county, for any reason, decides not to purchase the property before the 105-day inspection period expires, the $500,000 deposit will be refunded to the county. Now, here's a little data for the actual estimated cost for the project. The estimated total project cost is around $21 million. The purchase price of the existing office building would be $14.25 million. The renovation and furnishing costs are anticipated to be around $4.75 million, and about $2 million is anticipated in the near future to provide a vehicle impound facility and potentially a shooting range. With that background, I would like to recommend that the board move to enter into a purchase and sales agreement with 1111 Israel Road LCC for the building located at 1111 Israel Road Southwest, Tumwater, Washington, 98501, parcel number 82700600100, for the amount of $14,250,000, and to authorize the Assistant County Manager the authority to execute the agreement. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we get into questions, I'd like to invite Sheriff Sanders to come up and and speak from the Sheriff's Department's perspective.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the board. Thanks for having me up here. Just to give some context, first of all, thank you to Rick and Richard for all of their hard work on this. This was a lot of collaboration about exactly what the Sheriff's Office needs are that have not been met for decades at this point. So ever since I've worked here, which is nearly a decade now, the Sheriff's Office has run split operations. I have one bureau in the jail. I have one bureau at the courthouse, which is administrators and detectives. And then I have one bureau out at the field operations in Tumwater, which is all of our patrol and narcotics task force. And so that alone is challenging. On top of that, we have no space for additional employees. It is not irregular for deputies to stand waiting to log evidence, to get onto computers and things like that. And this is before we add any additional bodies. And at this point in time, we are hiring a lot. We are anticipating to fill all 9 of our new public safety tax deputy positions this year. And we don't think we're going to have a problem filling the majority of the 18 for 2025. And so what I was looking for was to consolidate us into one building that the county could then own. We were no longer paying rent because as of right now, the Field Operations Bureau pays rent every year to the port. So we're not getting any return of investment on that. And also in a cheaper manner than new construction. We've seen some new police departments and some of the ranges that they're going for, probably creeping up on nearly $100 million at this point. And for us to get into a building that works for us for less than $20 million, I think was a huge deal on our part. And so really the main goal of this is to anchor us down into one building and really start to get some of the luxuries that other police departments have had for decades that we do not have, which is consolidated staff. Just the smallest things in the world make such a big difference, like detectives and patrol deputies passing by each other every day, being able to exchange information. They may as well work on the opposite side of the county right now because they never see each other until the homicide occurs and they come across each other out on the call. So just having those types of things. And then, another big thing, oftentimes when we need child protective services, whether we locate a child and can't find where they belong or who they live with, or we have to take a child from a scene, we don't have anywhere to place that kid. So just having some things like that we can build into this new building, like a kid's playroom, where we can go babysit and take care of the kid. Right now, they're coming to the Field Operations Bureau, which is an old children's playground warehouse. That is where kids go when we have to wait for CPS, which can be up to 12 hours. So I just appreciate everyone's collaboration on this and recognizing there's been a lot of needs for the Sheriff's Office, but this is just one more step to get us out of second to last place in the state, which is pretty close to being second to last place in the country at this point. So I appreciate it. Any questions for me?
Thank you. So at this point, we have a recommendation, make a motion to approve the purchase and sales agreement. So I'd like to ask for a motion, and if there's a second, we'll open it up for debate, and we can ask questions of staff then.
Okay, I would move to enter into a purchase and sales agreement with 111 Israel Road LLCC for the building located at 111 Israel Road Southwest, Tumwater, Washington, 98501, parcel number 82700600100, for the amount of $14,250,000, and to authorize the Assistant County Manager the authority to execute the agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Yes. I guess I'd like to either ask Rick or maybe the county manager. Can we be assured that those issues brought up by Mr. Pettit have been addressed and are not a legal problem? I guess, and where I'm going with this is over the last 7 years, I have asked consistently that the prosecuting attorney be in attendance at these meetings. I've not won that battle yet from a political perspective. Can either Rick or the county manager assure us that this is on the capital facilities plan as laid out, if it is even needs to be on the capital facilities plan? I don't know the answers to those things, but I believe Mr. Pettit has raised some questions that are worth satisfying in the affirmative before we vote in favor of this. I want to support the sheriff 100%. But I want to make sure we get it right and we don't end up in a challenge situation where possibly we've moved forward and now all of a sudden we find out, oh, we missed that point. So can I be assured we don't have legal in attendance, which I would prefer, but
So the
shy of
question's
that.
been asked, can we confirm or deny or vet the concerns regarding the capital facilities plan?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. In the county's comprehensive plan, I believe it's page 153, there is a section that is under land acquisition. And the description is the purchase of property in Thurston County. The justification is the project scope. The project represents the purchase of property in Thurston County that allows for future expansion of current county departments as needed for courts and other departments. It's to Mr. Pettit's comment about the process that the county follows in making sure that capital projects go through the comprehensive plan, which is approved by the Planning Commission and ultimately approved by the board. Staff are identifying that the land acquisition component is in there. There's really no way for us to identify future potential land acquisitions. But what staff have done is they've created a place where the comprehensive plan does consider, and it's been approved both by the Planning Commission and the board, that the county would be engaged in this type of a forward-looking endeavor to identify new land, and land could include land with buildings to purchase for the future.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I do think that Rick can speak to whether or not our legal team has reviewed the transaction as to its appropriateness, and while I believe the answer is yes, Rick, can you speak to that?
Yes, I can. Our PAO's office has reviewed the purchase and sales agreement and have concurred that they don't have any issues with it. And basically leave it up to the board for their approval if they choose to do so.
Yes, sir.
I guess I'd like to point out, shy of having the attorney here to ask that question in person, I would like the public to know that in 2017, our Supreme Court ruled that all legal advice that this board receives must come from our prosecuting attorney. And it sounds like our prosecuting attorney or his deputies have reviewed this material. Is that correct?
That is correct. The purchase and sales agreement that is for your consideration has been reviewed in totality by one of the deputy prosecuting attorneys.
And then one other issue, if I may.
Certainly. Now's the time.
As we move forward traditionally in real estate transactions, oftentimes there's a reason that we hold executive sessions. Could you just touch on that so the public understands the process that we're obligated to follow?
I could address that, but would you like to address that?
I'm sorry, can you restate?
Regarding why we would hold these discussions in executive session to
Oh, yes.
protect the price.
Yeah, so this is what we would consider an active negotiation. If the county were to have that active negotiation in open session, it would be detrimental to the county's position because it would have to disclose our conversations that the board is having about its willingness to pay a certain price, effectively eroding our ability to try to get the best price for the public. So in essence, us going into executive session, if it keeps that from being disclosed to the party that we're trying to buy property or building from, and allows us to negotiate. What we can say is that this happened over a series of meetings where the board's direction to county staff and me as the county manager was to negotiate for the best price, and even held out in certain times to make sure that we were getting that best price, and really commend the team for their ability to negotiate and bring the price down from its original quoted costs that was delivered to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. I do have one other thing
Certainly.
I'd like to ask. Rick, by any chance, do you know what price has been allocated for the new Lacey Police Department? And maybe if you don't know, maybe the sheriff might know.
I do not know that directly, but
Yes, I'd even heard 100. I mean, it was
Okay, I had
somewhere
heard,
between 70 to 100 million dollars.
yeah, I had heard 80 million, so I just wondered if anybody actually knew the figure, but I guess that's close enough. Okay.
And Vice Chair and Commissioners, what also want to point out in the comprehensive plan that the staff had considered something for the sheriff. In the plan, it contemplated potentially a sheriff renovation. And so what I want to say is that the concept of us doing something for the sheriff has been brought before the Planning Commission, brought before the board. To your question, Commissioner Edwards, I think at a certain point, what we were looking at is potentially buying something to remodel an existing facility. And in this situation, the opportunity to buy a facility that is, for all intents and purposes, in very good condition. Our due diligence process that staff negotiated into the deal really protects the county, that if things don't materialize the way that we believe they should from a facilities readiness standpoint and major system standpoint, then the board has the complete leverage to back out of that deal at no impact to the county. And so,
That's that 90 days provision.
6.
yeah.
Thank you.
So, so I think that there's opportunity to answer your question specifically. We will round up with, I don't want to misspeak and say we asked the question as was stated by the speaker. We will go through that process and just ask that specific question. I never want to misstate anything with our legal team. And if there's any perspective, otherwise, we're happy to bring that back.
Thank you.
So at this point, it sounds like what I'm hearing is we've got, if we move forward with this, we can do so. And then we've got 90 days to either follow up with everything, we're legal, all the dot the i's and cross the t's and make sure that it is what we think it is. And if it is, we'll use that money as part of our payment. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct from a standpoint of the due diligence process is very important to the county, understanding the perspectives about us wanting to make sure that this facility is what we think it is. And so again, I commend staff for thinking that through based on prior situations and learning lessons where we want to make sure that we have the option to evaluate the full facility. You have my commitment to work with our legal team to ask the question as it was stated by the speaker, just to double check. We always want to make sure that we are looking at things. If we have to turn it in a different facet to ask the question a little bit differently, my commitment is to do that with our team.
Thank you. That's it for me, Chair.
Excellent.
if I, just one
Yes, sir.
quick clarification. In the purchase and sales agreement, the inspection period that we have, it's not 90 days, it's actually 105 days.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you. Thanks for that clarification.
All right, are there any other questions or comments or,
I have a question.
yes?
Commissioner Edwards asked actually most of my questions, but I did have a couple constituents reach out to me wondering what the public process is for providing input regarding this project. And I was wondering, outside of written comments or coming to give public comment, are there any other opportunities for the public to comment on this project or this purchase? And would tomorrow's Planning Commission meeting be an opportunity for the public to address this? Because tomorrow the Planning Commission is discussing the CIP. So I was wondering if this would maybe be something that could be considered for public comment at that meeting, or can you speak to any of that?
I think, Rick, I'll take that question and don't want to necessarily speak for the sheriff, although I know the sheriff has a pretty open door approach to community input. So I would say community can absolutely reach out to our office to make any comments or perspectives they have. I would assume without speaking with the sheriff, they can reach out to his office if they have thoughts. I think this is a step in a great direction in the county partnering with the sheriff, taking advantage of the community support we had for the public safety tax that was recently approved, and us getting the sheriff situated operationally so that they could have a more efficient operation and continue to deliver on the promises that were made to deliver better law enforcement service to our communities.
Thank you. So then what I'm hearing is the only opportunity would be for them to reach out to our office.
I would also just state that I have a number of town halls coming up. So October 2nd in Yelm, October 9th in Rochester, October 16th in Olympia, October 23rd in Tenino, and October 30th in Lacey are all opportunities where anyone can come discuss this. I basically give like a 15-minute roundup view of what's been going on at the sheriff's office, and the rest of the time is all unscripted questions from the audience. So those would all be really good opportunities to come ask. And then the last thing I just wanted to say really quick before I lose the mic is that this is also, I think, an important step for not just the sheriff's office, but the rest of the county collectively, as I know everyone's trying to figure out what to do with a courthouse complex, where everyone's going to go permanently. And the sheriff's office is one of the largest employers in the county, and there was never really a good solution for all of us to be in that one building. So by using the public safety tax money, which had infrastructure included in that, it allows us to knock that piece out of the pie and allows the county, then you guys, to have a more flexible opportunity to figure out what to do with the courthouse complex or whatever goes on in the future. And then the sheriff's office will be taken care of. We don't have to be a part of that conversation. So I think this goes beyond just even the sheriff's office, is more about really anchoring down the entire county for the future. But yes, all of those town halls, I'd be more than happy to field questions or concerns.
I think that's a good point, but I would say that those aren't the only points. We got to remember that there's been many points prior to this for public discussion, and while we're just now bringing up this specific building as an answer, there's been years of discussion about how to move forward with the sheriff's department. And in the public safety sales tax town halls and discussions, it was discussed in length, facilities and needs for facilities and how to move forward. So the public input has happened every step of the way. But now I would say we're at a point where public input for this specific facility is appropriate. But whether or not we need to move forward with finding a new home for the sheriff's department, in my mind, we've had that discussion over the last couple of years. So now, and there's ample opportunity for people to email, for people to provide public comment at these meetings, at this meeting, and they can reach out to any number of us at any point.
And if I can, just to make sure we answer your question, Commissioner Klaus, the Planning Commission will be meeting to discuss the comprehensive plan for the future years. Want to make sure I didn't misspeak. The sheriff renovation, there's a part of that is part of the CIP plan. So yes, comments can be made about that at that meeting for the Planning Commission.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And then just for the record, I know it's tomorrow evening. Does anyone off the top of their head know the time, and will it be in this room?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock tomorrow night?
In
Okay,
this room.
thank you.
Commissioner Edwards.
And if that's too short a notice for public to attend, they also take written comment. So you don't have to come in person. You can send in your comments.
All right, is there any further comment? We have a motion on the floor to move to enter into a purchase and sales agreement for 111 Israel Road. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Congratulations, both of you and the citizens of Thurston County. We have to move that forward. Next up, Public Health and Social Services. Shaylin Sowers regarding Amendment 1 to the interlocal agreement with Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services, Organizations for Criminal Justice Treatment Sales Tax Funds.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Shaylin Sowers, Behavioral Health Fund Program Manager with Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. As you know, Thurston County has been receiving Criminal Justice Treatment Account CJTA funds from the Washington State Healthcare Authority since 2018. And these funds have been administered to other county offices and external partners by the Public Health and Social Services Department. CJTA funds may be used to provide substance use disorder treatment and recovery support services to justice-involved individuals with active criminal charges or that are enrolled in a therapeutic court. As discussed during last week and this week's work sessions, about $370,000 in CJTA funds are provided to Thurston County each state fiscal year by the Washington State Healthcare Authority. Our current agreement for CJTA funds span the 2023 through 2025 state fiscal years for a total of $740,000, and we can spend $370,000 in each state fiscal year. At current spending levels, PHSS is projecting approximately $90,000 in underspending in the first contract year. Unspent CJTA funds from the first contract year may be rolled over into the second contract year. So this item is in regards to an amendment to our interlocal agreement with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization, or the ASO, for CJTA funds. And through this agreement, the ASO housing program uses CJTA funds to provide housing case management services, including temporary rent subsidies, to individuals with a substance use disorder and active criminal charges, with the goal of reducing their risk for future legal involvement and supporting their recovery. Historically, the ASO has spent down their CJTA allocation and has also utilized unspent CJTA funds from previous contracts to increase rental assistance funds. This amendment has also been recommended by the local CJTA panel, comprised of local law and justice partners and a substance use disorder treatment professional. Thus, I am here to request that the board authorize an amendment of the ASO housing agreement to add $40,000 in CJTA funds for a total of $222,000 between July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025. And I'm happy to take any questions you have.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards?
Is that, that's money coming in? The expenditure of this money, is it coming in or going out?
So are you asking if it's money that we receive from the healthcare authority? Sorry, I just want to make sure I understand.
Yeah.
So this wouldn't be any additional funds that we would be requesting from the healthcare authority. This would be unspent funds that would be getting reallocated to the Thurston Mason BHASO.
As we expend those dollars on these type of activities, would you say that reduces the possibility of future incarceration of successful participants in that program?
That is definitely a goal of the programs that CJTA funds, is to reduce risk of future legal
So in the end, we really save money and make better citizens out of those that might have went awry.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, is there any further questions? Do we have a motion?
I would move to approve Amendment 1 to the interlocal agreement with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization for a total of $222,000 in criminal justice treatment account funds for the period of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025, and authorize the interim director of public health and social services or designee to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any debate? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jolynn. Next on the agenda, we have Alex Purse with contract with Homes First, single-family home acquisition for affordable housing.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Alex Purse, Affordable Housing Program Manager in the Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention. I am here today to ask you to approve a contract with Homes First for the total amount of $375,000 for the acquisition of a single-family home to be used as affordable rental housing, and authorize the Interim Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%. Background on this item: Homes First applied to Thurston County's Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention's request for proposals for capital projects in March of 2024. The application included a proposal to acquire a single-family home on Deer Brush Loop in Lacey to utilize as affordable rental housing. This property is a single-story, 3-bedroom home, and the purchase of the property will create an additional unit of affordable rental housing. The Board of County Commissioners approved the preliminary funding award for this project at the June 18th meeting after reviewing funding recommendations from the Regional Housing Council. A bit of background on the Regional Housing Council: we also refer to it as the RHC. In 2021, Thurston County and the cities of Lacey, Olympia, Tumwater, and Yelm formally adopted an interlocal agreement to create the RHC with the goal of coordinating and collaborating on regional response to housing issues. The RHC members work together to leverage resources and partnerships to support projects that promote access to safe and affordable housing in Thurston County. The RHC also has two advisory boards, the Thurston Affordable Housing Advisory Board and the Homeless Services Advisory Board, that provide recommendations to the Regional Housing Council on the use of affordable housing and homeless services funds. The RHC then makes the official recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners for their final approval. The projects that I'm bringing forward to you today have gone through the advisory board and RHC process. The funding to support this project will come from the American Rescue Plan Act state and local fiscal recovery funds, which was awarded to the county in March of 2021. This funding source requires funds to be obligated by the end of 2024 and expended by the end of 2026, both of which will be feasible for this project that I'm presenting. The Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention staff have completed pre-contract requirements, and Homes First has secured funding for the project and is ready to proceed with this acquisition and is planned to close within the next 30 days. The contract has also been reviewed and approved by Legal Risk and Fiscal. Also at this morning's meeting, I was asked how many housing acquisitions our office has supported. Since 2016, our office has provided financial support for the acquisition of 12 homes to be purchased by Homes First to use as affordable rental housing throughout Thurston County. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Alex. Are there any questions for Alex?
I guess I'd just point out that if anybody wants to see other discussions on this, they could refer to our work session this morning, starting at 9 o'clock. We've had quite a few discussions that would give you a little more detail.
Good point.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the contract with Homes First for the total amount of $375,000 for the acquisition of a single-family home to be used as affordable rental housing, and authorize the interim director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the contract with Homes First. Is there any discussion?
I just want to thank Alex and the team for your work on this. I personally am aware of the positive impact that Homes First projects have on the community. So I just want to say thank you and congrats on getting this taken care of, because I know it helps a lot of people, although a small amount of people for a single family home, but the greater impact of what Homes First does is pretty big. So thank you for this.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any further? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next up is a contract with Homes First for a fourplex acquisition for affordable housing, and
Thank you. Alex First, Affordable Housing Program Manager. I am here to also ask you to approve a contract with Homes First for the total amount of $635,969 for the acquisition of a fourplex to be used as affordable rental housing, and authorize the interim director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contract and any future amendments that do not exceed 10%. So this item is very similar to my previous item. It has the same background, the same history. However, the contract is for Homes First to acquire a fourplex located on Franklin Street in Olympia to be used as affordable rental housing. This acquisition will result in the addition of 4 affordable rental units in Thurston County. I'm happy to answer questions about this one.
all right. Are there any questions for Alex? Do we have a motion?
I would move to approve a contract with Homes First for the total amount of $635,969 for the acquisition of a fourplex to be used as affordable rental housing, and authorize the interim director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contract and any future amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any debate? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Hi, Matt. Next up, we have Matt Unzelman from our county engineer, to talk about County Road Administration Board Rural Arterial Program grant application for Morris Road Southeast, 143rd Ave to 133rd Ave Southeast.
You're 100% right. I'm not Marcus Dorvick. I'm pitching for him today. Unfortunately, Marcus is at home sick today. So this item is to approve Public Works to apply apply for a grant application on Morris Road between 143rd Avenue and 133rd Avenue. This grant's administered by the County Road Administration Board. The grant application is requesting $3.2 million to upgrade the road to current standards and improve safety for the more than 750 vehicles that use that roadway each day. Improvements funded through this grant would include roadway reconstruction, wider shoulders, upgrading drainage to current standards, replacing a 4-foot culvert that's considered a fish barrier, realigning some substandard horizontal curves, and removing some fixed objects from the county roads to prevent them from being hazards to errant vehicles leaving the road. The estimated total project cost is $4.155 million, and the difference between the 4.155 and the 3.2 would come from the county road fund. So again, we're simply asking permission from the Board of County Commissioners to apply for a grant to improve a portion of Morris Road between 143rd and 133rd.
Thank you, Matt. Are there any questions for Mr. Unzelman?
No questions, but I would like to recognize Commissioner Mejia, who sits on the crab board and does a pretty good job. I think we're getting our money's worth.
Thank you.
All right, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I would move to approve the County Road Administration Board Rural Arterial Program Grant Application for Morris Road Southeast, 143rd Avenue Southeast to 133rd Avenue Southeast in the amount of $3,200,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the County Administration Board Arterial Grant Application. Is there any debate? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Right? Did you say aye?
Yeah.
Okay. I keep forgetting to say aye because when I would do this as mayor, I didn't get to vote. So now I'm like, it's okay. Next up, Matt Unzelman to set a public hearing for the 6-year Transportation Improvement Program.
Thank you, Commissioners. Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to set a public hearing for October 15th, 2024 at 3:30 p.m. to receive comments from the public regarding the 6-year transportation plan. Per state law, the Board of County Commissioners is required to adopt a 6-year transportation plan, I keep saying plan, program each year prior to setting the budget. Public Works briefed the Board of County Commissioners on the tip on July 31st, and the recording is available for viewing on the county's YouTube site. The tip will be made available to all the cities within Thurston County, the Chambers of Commerce, the local community, neighborhood groups, and interested residents for review and comment. So again, requesting permission to set a public hearing for October 15th to receive comment regarding the Transportation Improvement Program.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to set the public hearing?
I would move to set a public hearing for October 15th, 2024 at 3:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard in room 110 of the Atrium 3000 Pacific Avenue Southeast, Olympia, Washington, to receive and consider public testimony on the proposed 6-year transportation improvement program for the calendar years of 2025 through 2030.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to set the public hearing. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Doesn't feel right. Okay, thank you. All right, next up, County Manager. You get, what's that? How do I, it's not even on my, okay. Did I miss something?
No, just go to 8A.
8A, that's where I'm at, County Manager. Commissioners report on board work sessions. I will start with Commissioner Mejia.
Okay, I did give a very thorough report yesterday, but I'll go through some of the items. I attended a Green Cove Culvert tour with Public Works staff, very thankful to them. Attended ORCA on behalf of Commissioner Klaus, attended Emergency Food and Shelter Program on behalf of Commissioner Klaus, attended a Deschutes Estuary event held by the Squaxin Island Tribe, attended intercity transit meeting, attended a Washington, State of Washington Transportation meeting. That's a series, and this one was the end of it, which is Equity in Transportation. had a meeting with Representative Couture in regards to the LRA process that the board will see later on their agenda. Attended TRPC meeting, attended a policy subcommittee for the Board of Health, attended the Seeds of Change Harvest at the Family Juvenile Court, attended a WASAC meeting and also attended an Intercity Transit Executive Committee meeting. I post my weekly schedule on my Facebook for all of those who are interested in what I'm up to week.
Thank you. Commissioner Klaus?
So, since the last meeting, I had a tour of the coroner's office. This tour was really insightful and it helped me understand how the office is funded and the coroner's operational needs. I had a one-on-one with Auditor Hall. We discussed election security measures as well as budget considerations for the upcoming fiscal year and some conversation about TC Connect. I attended the Joint Animal Services Commission or JASCOM meeting on the 9th, where we received updates on the volunteer program, field services, and we reviewed the 2025 jurisdictional assessment estimates. I also had a meeting with the nonprofit executive directors of Washington Together. This is an organization that I've been connecting with. I feel like engaging with them is a key in building community partnerships for the county. On the 10th, I attended the Nisqually Stewardship Award celebration at Wilcox Farms to honor former Thurston County Commissioner Karen Frazier. She was presented with the Daniel J. Evans Nisqually Stewardship Award. I thought that this was a really interesting event that helped me learn a lot about the history of the Nisqually watershed. And I also attended the Green Cove Culvert visit with my seatmates on the 13th.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards?
I guess I'm going to keep mine short. Let's keep it simple, Sheriff, or something like that.
Keep it simple, Sheriff.
Anyway, I attended for the board the City of Rainier's ribbon cutting on their pickleball court. And those folks that know anything about the pickleball court, it took us 5 years working with the City of Rainier to get that completed. So things don't happen overnight oftentimes in government, but they do happen, and I think it'll be enjoyed by many. Thank you.
Thank you. I gave a report out yesterday, but I did not go to the pickleball ribbon cutting. Pickleball? Am I saying it? It doesn't, yeah. I attended Fufara, which is an event that Thurston County Chamber and the Olympia Yacht Club put on for, I think, 60 years. And it's a military appreciation event that I know that Commissioner Edwards has attended. I'm not sure if any others, but if you haven't and you get a chance to, it's a lot of fun. There was around 250 active service members that are escorted out to like a beach and a barbecue and a clubhouse, and they do barbecuing, and they have a whole day of games that are pretty fun to watch, where they do tug of war, they have cornhole, and then they did a game where each boat has a group of people that are like team up with the service members, and they give them a potato, and you have to make a race car out of the potato. And they do like a gravity race down a hill and compete for the fastest potato, and it's kind of fun to watch. Everybody's cheering on potatoes. It's silly, and the whole Fufara like means nothing, and that's kind of the whole point of the place. Is it's like a day to do nothing and have fun and say thank you to service members. So that was cool. And I guess that was the only thing I didn't probably report on yesterday. I do not have a report from Commissioner Menser, but we got his report yesterday. And as far as the meeting agenda goes, that is the end of it. And we will begin our public hearing at 3:30. So I will adjourn this meeting and we'll take a 5-minute recess.